invocation. Okay, um, just recognizing what a great privilege it is to be together. A great privilege of coming together and spiritually just having that amazing presence of having the ability to have Ernest Holmes conversation, to be inspired, to be heard, and to listen with ears that are just so soaking up every bit of this hour. We're so grateful to recognize that this awareness of these teachings just absolutely makes such a huge difference in our lives. And we're grateful to have this time together to just really be able to touch that space of knowing how much we are loved, how much we are supported, and just grateful for the archives and all that's involved with everyone that's involved with these Lunch and Learns, and with for the years and years of collection of information, memorabilia, and recordings. What a magnificent organization this is. And for everything that we are to receive today, we are grateful. And so it is.
And so it is.
Well, welcome everyone. What a treat this is going to be. We're going to listen to Ernest Holmes' recording of overcoming fear. And we're going to be talking about our passions and our purpose. And one of the things that happens with me, I work with clients, and a lot of times I do talk about our passion and purposes, and something that a gift I received, so to speak, was a few years ago. I was taking a class where it was talking about dreams and purpose and passion. And one of the things that was asked of me was, what is your biggest fear about this dream of yours? And my answer to that was, I fear that it won't happen. And I was told, which is something that I carry on to a lot of my clients, that the dream isn't too big. What it is that the vibrations, the emotions, and the fears are what's not aligning with the dream. And so I realized I was working on the wrong thing. I was working on trying to define this dream a little bit more. And what I needed to do was just really work within and not be looking so much on the outside. And so when I work with my clients, a lot of times what I'll do is the very first step we'll do is to look at their fears and address the emotions and the triggers that's preventing them from living the life they desire. And so what I love about Dr. Holmes when he talks is he does such a brilliant job of really discussing how to ask the right questions so that we're able to go deeper and be inspired by our own experiences, and to really be aware of how the science of mind principles supports us in processing quickly through our fears. And I'm reading a book by Eric Butterworth, and he quotes Emerson saying, "Prayer is the contemplation of facts from the highest point of view." So I'm going to repeat that. Prayer is the contemplation of facts from the highest point of view. And that's exactly what Dr. Holmes is telling us to do in this talk today. Even in the hardest of times, when we do this, and when we contemplate the situation from that view of highest spirituality, of highest consciousness, we land on solid ground. So today I encourage you to listen with new ears, to tap into the emotions that come up for you and how this recording touches you today. Then when we break up into the groups, let's talk about what came up for you and how you were inspired by Dr. Holmes today. So, Martha, I think if we can start the recording.
Overcoming Fear by Ernest Holmes. Or a feeling that we don't quite belong, either to society or to the world in which we live, or to ourselves or anyone else. Did you ever watch someone perhaps past the middle of life who has retired from activity and doesn't know just what to do with himself? And have you noticed how he seems to feel there is no longer anything worthwhile? And then someone comes along and says to him, I need you so much in my business or whatever it is I'm doing, or I need you to help me in some social things. You will see this same person given back to himself as again he begins to live usefully and creatively. A new look comes into his eyes when the feeling of not being needed, which had been choking him, is removed. Or have you seen someone so afraid that he can't even enter into the joy of living because of his fear? The creative energy of his life is so bottled up that he acquires either a sense of inferiority and false submission, or in order to compensate, he becomes over-aggressive. Now, both of these feelings, which are called superiority and inferiority complexes, are based on one fundamental mistake, which really amounts to this: I am afraid of life. I lack confidence in living. I don't know just what to do or how to do it. If you are suffering from fear, perhaps the first and best thing to do is to examine yourself and see what it is that you really are afraid of. Are you afraid of life? Are you afraid of people? Do you fear for your future? And if you do, why? It isn't the easiest thing in the world to ask yourselves such questions, to come to a simple, honest self-analysis. But the first thing to do in overcoming fear is to be willing to meet yourself face to face. For it is yourself that you are dealing with, more than it is people or circumstances. Self-analysis means the ability to ask oneself, how am I thinking? What is it that I put my faith in? And what do I expect of life? Am I alone, buffeted by chance, the pawn of fate? Or is there something bigger that I haven't yet discovered? Am I alone in the universe, fighting my way through life? Or can I always have a champion with me, a something that can guide and direct? I well remember a story about a little boy who was running a foot race. And as he passed by the judge's stand, the judge noticed that he was talking to himself, or apparently was. Well, this little boy won the race. And so one of the judges asked him, you seem to be talking to yourself as you ran by the stand. What were you saying? The boy replied, I was praying. And just what were you saying in your prayer? Asked the judge, and the little boy answered, I was saying, God, you lift him up, and I'll put him down. Surely this youngster reached out to something greater than he was. Or perhaps he reached in and found something within himself greater than he appeared to be. And he surrendered himself to this thing. But he did his part. He kept putting them down and trusted that life within him would lift them up. And so his little feet paddled along because his faith was surrendered to something greater than he was, and his fear was given over to faith. Are you afraid to surrender your fear to that which alone can overcome it? Confidence in a living presence in the universe to which you as a person are very close and very dear? Oh, I know that some strong-minded person may say, I am sufficient unto myself. All right. The only trouble with this is that he really is not sufficient unto himself. No one is. Can you make the food you eat digest by willing it to be so? Do you hypnotize nature when you plant a seed and reap a harvest? Why, of course not. We are all rooted in a life which, through faith, can give us a power that we have little dreamed of. And you must trust yourself. You must believe in yourself. You must rely upon yourself. But who are you anyway? For you too belong to the universe in which you live, and your life is the high gift of heaven. If your faith is in yourself alone, your reaction is likely to be one which tries to build up a terrific resistance to life, to beat down everything, and you can no longer say, God, you lift them up, and I'll put them down. You live by an energy, an intelligence, and a power greater than you are, but one which you can use. It is life itself. It is the divine spark in your imagination, the divine purpose in your will, the Creator, creating through you. You don't have to blow them down or bowl them over. You will still be yourself, but you will have opened up an avenue within through which something bigger than you are can flow as a perennial stream and from an inexhaustible source. Learn to believe in and trust this source, and for every particular fear, find a faith greater than that fear. Not an arrogant, willful faith, but rather the faith of a child, placing his hands in his Father's and knowing that all will be well. Don't think that this will be weakness on your part, quite the reverse. It will mark the beginning of a new strength, a new vitality, a new courage. And gradually, as you trust this bigger something within you, which is forever one with God, you will find that you are not isolated. You are not left alone to battle through life. There will be a presence and a power go before you. Perfect love casts out all fear, and faith through love alone brings confidence. And don't be afraid of life. Learn to trust it. Don't feel separated from it. Learn to feel the presence of God in everything, everywhere, and all people. And don't wait, but begin right now. For so far as you are concerned, the day of God's appointing comes on the morning of your own acceptance. And since faith is a thing of your own thought, something you do within yourself, it's something you do to yourself, it is something you do consciously, definitely, volitionally, then there is no situation that can hinder you from doing it. Having located this faith at the center of your own consciousness, knowing that you are surrounded by a power greater than you are that you can use, knowing that this power does respond to you, you may have a sense of relaxation and peace and joy, and relieve yourself from the burden of that responsibility which causes people to feel that the whole weight of life is on their shoulders. You see, when we plant a seed, we do not do that. Someone has said, there is no unbelief. Who plants a seed beneath the sod and waits to see it push away the clod has faith in God. Now there's another kind of a seed, there's another kind of a soil, and there's another kind of a harvest. That seed is your thought. That soil is this divine power in which you live greater than you are. And that harvest is the result of faith. Because as the great teacher said, it is done unto everyone as he believes. So let us see to it that we believe and see that we consciously generate that belief. In other words, watch your thinking. Be certain that it is affirmative. Listen to see where you yourself deny what you have affirmed. And remember this, for it is one of the secrets of generating faith. If a negative thought produces a negative result, a positive thought will neutralize it. It will act like an eraser rubbing out something. And so consciously, your thoughts of affirmation, your affirmative thoughts, will erase the negative ones, and gradually they will no longer come up from within your memory or your thought or your consciousness. And as this happens, you will be living affirmatively. That is, you will be living in faith. You have conquered fear. And so say, perfect love casts out fear. I know that there is a power greater than I am. I know there is a love which casts out all fear. I know there is a faith which overcomes all obstructions. And now I am entering into this love. I am using this faith. I have confidence in the living and in the loving Spirit. And I believe that the Spirit within me, which is God, makes perfect and happy the way before me. I enter into conscious union with everything that lives, and I commune with the Spirit in all people and in all things, and I put my trust in God. I know that the Spirit will lead me and counsel me. I know that love which envelops everything and everyone is flowing through me to everything and everyone. For all thy ways are ways of pleasantness, and all thy paths are peace. Overcoming Fear by Ernest Holmes.
So just thinking about what might have come up for you about the different fears or a situation during this talk, and how you overcame it, and maybe what you learned from it. And when we go into our groups, let's have that discussion of how this inspired you. So Martha, are we going to break it into groups now?
Yes, ma'am. How long do you want people to be in the meetings?
Let's do it for how many people? Let's see, are there?
There'll be 6 breakout rooms. Should we
breakout
do
rooms?
15 minutes?
Yeah, 15 would be fine.
Okay.
That'll give us time to discuss at the end.
Here we go. And there we are.
This really made me appreciate being in these teachings. I mean, it just really brought up a lot of different times as I've gone along, and just how I navigate that so much different than, years ago, and how much easier my life is, just more comfortable.
Yeah. Oh, let me pause the recording right now.
Oh, maybe.
Yes, we had a great discussion. It was really, really good. It was pretty personal, and taking it to what's happening in life. And it was great sharing.
Wonderful. You're muted again, Connie.
How did that happen?
There you go.
Thought I unmuted. Oh well. Yeah. So
Great.
yeah, very much appreciate it.
That's wonderful. Yeah, especially when you're talking about fears and emotions and everything, that does get on a very personal level. Yeah. Anyone else would like to share?
Hi, this
Jamie?
is Jamie. Thanks. And it was a really fun discussion, I think, because we all agreed that just the simplicity of his terminology, we've all been taught from day one of seed, soil, and plant, but the seed, the thought, and the power greater than you, and the result of faith, that's the harvest. So his 11-minute talk was just really powerful. And like you said, having that conversation with yourself, being authentic with yourself. And yet his discussion was so simple and easy to follow, but yet this plants something in our minds to practice and surrender, if you will. And also I want to say, welcome to Mr. White. He is a newbie and he doesn't know how he got invited, but I was like, there are no accidents. So he is pretty excited about all this. So thank you.
Yeah, and what I loved about Ernest was he was giving us the questions to ask us ourselves, just like what you were saying. Excellent. Wonderful. Anyone else? Robert?
Yeah, one of the things we talked about near the end was how the race consciousness or group mind and the negativity in the news can just pull you down, and to be watchful of what you're observing and taking in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when he talked about the conditions in front of you, even just, the boy that was running, and just, that he didn't let, anything in front of him stop him. And he was very much aware of that higher consciousness of, running in with that God leading right there with him. Wonderful. Anyone else? Oh, Reverend Steve.
Our group had 2 from Colorado and 1 from Texas. And so I was asking how hot it is down there in the 110 degrees area. And we were grateful. And when you just spoke about the conditions in front of us, there's no denying that is the temperature. It's hot, it's uncomfortable. Or you can find things to build that case, or you can be grateful that you're inside, that you have a home, you have air conditioning, that the seasons do change. So wherever you're at, you can build your case for faith or for fear. And I know which one I choose. And so we had a good discussion around a lot of that.
Fantastic. Reverend Jeff.
I was in the room with Connie and with Harry. And one of the things that came up from my sharing, I shared that no matter what my fear has been, it's never, ever as bad as we build things up in our minds.
Oh, boy.
A lot of things that we worry about don't even happen. And if they do, they're never as bad as all that. So it's just good to know that there is spirit within that can lift us up above that whenever our minds start to go that way, into the fear. Just it's something I always remind myself, it's not as bad as you think it is, and grateful that it's not.
And to recognize all the options that we do have, that we're not, lost with just 1 or 2 options. Sometimes we have many options if we just look at it in a different view. Good. Excellent. Christopher.
Yeah, there was a chapter I just recently purchased, Ernest Holmes, As Lamar, I think it's called.
Lamar?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The chapter in there is called Fear is Faith. So I started reading, and he was talking about how sometimes, faith is in the positive and fear is in the negative. So you can have faith both ways. It determines how you choose to accept it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You can have fear or you can have faith, but they both either negative or positive. It's the way you choose to accept it.
Exactly. How does that work for you, Christopher?
I choose to accept the positive always.
Keyword choice.
Excellent. Anything else? Connie, you had your hand up.
Yeah, thank you. I go to CSL Dallas because I live here in this area of Dallas.
Uh-huh.
And there is a It's a circle. It's not a class. You don't pay for it. There's no fee. And it's called in Empowered Living. And it's all about how our power comes from within us, in here, not from out there.
Right.
And it's so incredibly helpful for me. And it
Yes.
just fits right in with what's going on, CSL stuff. It's done
Yeah.
beautifully. It's taught by Rob Bright, Brite. And anyone can go on the CSL Dallas website and find it and go there. 7 to 9 on Friday nights. I go every Friday.
And it's streamed then, is it?
What?
Is it streamed?
Well, it's on Zoom.
It's on Zoom. Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I highly recommend it. You could go and see if you like it or not. If you do, great. If you don't, leave it alone,
Yeah. That's the beauty of it. Any,
Yeah.
anyone else have some comments? Something that came up for you maybe while you were listening to that was nudging you to look at?
I'm giggling because
You're
it's,
giggling?
yes, because there's so many parts of it that even if it's just one sentence touched somebody in the room, but I giggled from the very beginning. So I'm just filled with gratitude that that I got to hear his voice. Someone said that he's on YouTube and things, but it's nice to be part of this bigger picture that all of you are working on with this archiving. So much work. So thank you.
We were discussing a little bit between Reverend Martha and myself and talking about Reverend Kathy and how she's at the Parliament of Religion right now in Chicago. And Reverend Kathy came to my home as a new practitioner years ago. And just watching how she has manifested her life into this glorious, delicious way of living, and being asked to be on a panel at the Parliament of Religions and from the aspect of religious science. And it's just what an honor. And boy, is she dynamite. And so it's going to be exciting to listen when she comes back to the stories and her experiences. And so stand by for all that. Anything else? Debbie?
Hello, all. I just wanted to share a quote that I heard about 2 weeks ago. Really kind of goes to what Christopher was saying and what Ernest Holmes was saying. And it just brings me comfort. It says, in all things, it is better to hope than to despair. So just wanted to share that. Thank you. It was a wonderful session.
Thank you, Debbie. And it is, it's looking at of having that opportunity to recognize that we do have hope. We do have options, and to make to design the way we want to live our lives, and to be able to receive our good, and just know that that's the way it's supposed to be. I remember as a new practitioner one time, I was so excited because things were just turning out so good. And my practitioner that I was going to, she goes, well, Sandra, she goes, that's the way it's supposed to be. And I thought, oh, I got to remember that one. Anything else? Anyone else?
I just want to say I'm glad to be here today. I'm glad to connect with all of you today, and I'm really proud to be here today. And I can't wait for the next session.
Oh, good, Christopher. We're glad to have you here, and we look forward to seeing you next month, on the third Thursday again. And Reverend Steve?
I was just doing my thumbs up for
Oh,
Christopher,
okay.
agreeing with that. I did, my practitioner classes were with Kathy Mastriani. We were in the same practitioner class, and at the end of our studies, Roger Teal asked of all the practitioners who thought they might be a minister, and about 6 or 7 of us out of the 30 raised our hand, and Kathy was one. And she's about 3 years ahead of me on the path, and been one of my guides. And I agree with all that you said about her. And we're all in this together. We're planting our seeds now, so plant good ones and be open at the top for the good to grow.
Annette, I think you had your hand up for a while.
Hi. Yes, hi, everybody. Something you said, Sandra, made me think of a memory. I'm 60 years old, and I've been in Science of Mind for 25 years. And I remember when I was 40, I had my regular checkup with the gynecologist, just my regular yearly pap smear. And the nurse said to me, what medications are you on? And I said, none. I'm not on any medication. And she's like, well, how did you get away with that? And I said, you're not supposed to be on medication. You're not, it's the other way around. You're not supposed to be on medication. Health is our natural birthright. And now I'm 20 years later, now I'm 60, and I'm still not on any medication. And I really believe that's our positive thinking that we're taught in Science of Mind. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. My mother lived to be 103, and she was on an aspirin a day. That was it. So, yeah, you're right. Jerry, let's hear from you.
Hello, everybody. I just wanted to mention that I appreciate the way Ernest Holmes did the delivery on the presentation. It was just straightforward, matter of fact, as if he knows it works, and he expects people to get good results from following the way he says on the program. Thank you all.
Yeah, he is straightforward. That's what we like about him. We know exactly where he's coming from. So wonderful. Well, we had some good discussions. It's really wonderful to have you here. We want you to be sure and come back next month on the third Thursday, and it's going to be Love Out Loud. How good does that sound? And Reverend Martha, who's going to be doing that one? Do you know right offhand?
I believe that it is our board president, who is an Ernest Holmes expert, and that's Dr. Our board president,
Jim Van Cleve.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Our board president, Dr. Jim Van Cleve. And would you like to tell us about the Science Mind Archives website and how people might be able to get these recordings on their own?
Absolutely. All you need to do is just go over to https://scienceofmindarchives.com. There we go. And where it goes, and when this is your main page, and just go down to where it says click here for the next lunch and learn, and it'll have the link that you can go into it. Actually, put it on your calendars every month on the third Thursday. Put it on your calendars and come join us, and you can eat if you want. But we'd love to. And you know what? Do not miss the opportunity to come in here and look at this website, because there is such a huge resource of information, and there's so much going on. And a lot of times what they do is they put the information right there, and sign up for the newsletter, and become a friend of the archives. You get into a lot of different opportunities to listen to more of Ernest Holmes, more of other New Thought teachers. So there's just a wealth of information on this website.
Could you please repeat that website name?
Pardon me?
Could you please repeat that
The-
website?
It's scienceofmindarchives.com.
Oh, just that, Science of Mind.
Archives.com. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And once you get on, there's all of these recordings. Reverend Mark Gilbert, who's on our board of directors, has taken a lot of what had been previously unheard, other than at the time they were broadcast, talks by Ernest Holmes, and we've digitized them, and they are available to people, and so it makes it so much worth the membership, which is $10 a month or $99 a year, I believe. And so just for the bare minimum, and if you want to help the archives, then of course we'll always take more. But the other thing I wanted to talk about, Sandra, if it's okay, is just to talk about that we are in the middle of a huge transition at the Science of Mind archives. We are getting ready to move. Up until now, we have been housed with Centers for Spiritual Living, and the Science of Mind archives and CSL are two different organizations. But CSL has been very generous in providing a space for us, but Centers for Spiritual Living is now selling their building. And so that means that we are going to be having to move. And so we want people to know that we are hoping to stay in the immediate area. There are talks with places right now in the immediate area of Golden, Colorado. So immediate being Golden, Colorado. And so we are, so it's going to cost, we've done the math, and it's scary math because it's going to cost about $100,000 to move. And then of course to preserve all of our precious artifacts. All of these things are getting so much older and have to be treated with such care, but it is our history. And so anyway, if anyone here is so moved, please join us in helping to keep the archives alive in the move. And we'll accept donations. I think when the time comes, if you're in the area, we'll accept the muscle and the help. So anyway, but do stay tuned. I think people need to know about that. And then Debbie has her hand up. So sorry, Debbie, I took over.
Oh, no, that's okay. That was very, very important information. Two questions. I did get an email about this move, and I'm just confirm yay or nay. I was under the impression that there was a $25,000 donation. So is that correct? And sort of like, say we gave $100, it would be matched, and then the donation would be $200. Is
Yes,
that
ma'am.
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then my second question is confirming again, these Lunch and Learn lectures, are we able to just go on the Science of Mind archive site and listen to them again? And do we have to be a member in order to do that?
Yes, you
No.
can go to the Science of Mind archives and hear them again. And no, you do not have to be a member. It's just right there on the front of the page.
Oh, the homepage will show these
it-
lectures and
Yeah, it just you scroll down, and last month with Dr. Jim Van Cleve, and he's amazing. He really is. He's fun to listen to. He's a theologian, and so he loves Ernest Holmes, and he's the chair of our board of directors, and really does a great job. He's here next month as well, and so anyway, good. He's fun to listen to too.
okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, and you can get those recordings just on that same spot that we were talking about, getting the Zoom link, that Lunch and Learn. That's where the recordings are. So all you have to do is just click into that, and you'll see all the recordings.
Thank you so much.
All right, everyone. So hopefully that we'll see you here again next month. And thank you so much for coming and participating. It was important to have you here. Thank you so, so much. And so let me just do
Thank
a quick
you.
benediction. Was someone say something? Okay, benediction. Just knowing that we are so grateful for your presence, so grateful for your support, so grateful for you. Knowing that this day has been blessed in every single way. And so it is. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Take